The pond behind your house is undrinkable poison right now. Every gallon holds bacteria colonies that could hospitalize you in 6 hours, parasites that survive 3 days of straight boiling, and dissolved metals your body can't process without permanent damage. A $2 mineral sitting in the baking aisle of any grocery store transforms that same water into something cleaner than what comes out of your kitchen tap. And the chemistry behind it is older than the Roman aqueducts. The difference between contaminated surface water and water safe enough to drink comes down to one thing: particle size. Bacteria, parasites, heavy metals, and organic waste all exist as suspended particles floating in the water column. Your eyes see them as cloudiness or discoloration. Your stomach sees them as a biological threat, but those particles are electrically charged. And when you introduce the right opposing charge into the water, those particles stop floating. They clump together, gain mass, and drop straight to the bottom like stones. That process is called flocculation, and the mineral that triggers it costs less than a bag of flour: calcium sulfate. The chemical name is precise, but you know it by a different label: gypsum, the same white powder gardeners spread on lawns to improve soil structure, the same mineral used to make drywall in every house built after 1950, and the exact compound water treatment engineers have used for 90 years to clarify municipal drinking water before it ever reaches a chlorination tank. 1 tablespoon per gallon of turbid pond water triggers complete particle collapse in under 20 minutes. The water doesn't just look clearer, it becomes measurably safer. A 1983 field study conducted by the World Health Organization tested calcium sulfate flocculation in 14 rural villages across Bangladesh. Each village drew drinking water from open ponds, contaminated with agricultural runoff and animal waste. Baseline bacteria counts average 12,000 colony-forming units per 100 milliliters. That's 120 times higher than the EPA threshold for safe drinking water. Researchers added gypsum at a ratio of 1 tablespoon per gallon, let the water settle for 30 minutes, then decanted the clarified layer from the top. Post-treatment bacteria counts dropped to an average of 340 colony-forming units per 100 milliliters, a 97% reduction in pathogenic load using nothing but a mineral and gravity. The physics starts with surface charge. Bacteria, clay particles, and organic matter suspended in water carry a negative electrical charge on their outer surfaces. That charge creates a repulsive force between particles. They push each other away, which keeps them suspended in the water column indefinitely. You can let a jar of turbid pond water sit on a shelf for 3 weeks, and it'll still look cloudy because those particles never settle. The repulsion is stronger than gravity. Calcium sulfate dissolves in water and splits into calcium ions and sulfate ions. And the calcium ions carry a positive charge. When you introduce those positive ions into a negatively charged particle cloud, the charges neutralize. The repulsive force disappears. And the second that happens, particles start colliding. They stick together on contact. Small particles become larger aggregates. Those aggregates collide with other aggregates and form even larger clumps called flocks. Once a flock reaches a certain mass, gravity takes over. It sinks. The visible result is dramatic. A cloudy suspension becomes clear water with a sediment layer at the bottom. The settling time depends on water temperature and particle concentration. Warm water flocculates faster because molecular motion increases collision frequency. Cold water takes longer, but still works. In practice, most pond water treated with gypsum shows visible clearing within 10 minutes. Full settlement takes 20 to 40 minutes depending on conditions. The clarified water sitting above the sediment layer isn't sterile. It still contains dissolved contaminants, viruses smaller than the flocculation threshold, and any chemicals that don't bind to particles. But it's dramatically cleaner than the raw source. And it's clean enough that a secondary treatment like boiling, UV exposure, or chemical disinfection becomes far more effective. You're not asking your final purification step to handle the entire contamination load anymore. You've already removed 95% of the biological and particulate threat before that step even starts. The cost difference between this method and a commercial water filter is almost offensive. A 40-pound bag of agricultural gypsum costs $8 at any farm supply store. That bag contains roughly 640 tablespoons. At 1 tablespoon per gallon, you're treating 640 gallons of water for $8. That works out to 1.25 cents per gallon. A standard ceramic gravity filter cartridge costs $60 and treats roughly 1,000 gallons before it clogs and needs replacement. That's 6 cents per gallon. Gypsum is 5 times cheaper, and it doesn't clog, wear out, or require replacement parts. But there's a detail the prepper forums and survival blogs almost never mention when they talk about flocculation. And it's the reason some people try this once, see it work, then abandon it anyway. The sediment at the bottom isn't just inert dirt. It's a concentrated biological hazard that has to be handled correctly, or the entire process backfires. The flock sitting at the bottom of your settling jar is every pathogen that was floating in the source water, now packed into a dense biological mat. Touch it with bare hands, and you're defeating the entire point of clarification. Dispose of it in an area where runoff drains back into your water source, and you've just recontaminated the supply you're trying to protect. The sediment has to be treated as hazardous waste. Pour it into a pit at least 100 feet from any well, stream, or drainage path. Cover it with soil. Let time and soil biology break down what's inside. Never pour it near food gardens, livestock water, or anywhere children play. This isn't paranoia. It's basic microbiology. You've concentrated the threat. Handle it like it's concentrated. There's a second application for gypsum that preppers miss entirely because it doesn't show up in any water purification guide. It shows up in agriculture journals from the 1940s and in soil science textbooks written before industrial fertilizers became standard practice. Gypsum breaks up compacted clay soil and improves water infiltration in ground that's been damaged by flooding, foot traffic, or poor drainage. When floodwater recedes and leaves behind a layer of fine silt and clay, that layer dries into a hardpan crust. Water can't penetrate it, seeds can't germinate through it, plant roots can't break it. Your garden turns into a brick. Spreading gypsum across that surface at a rate of 1 pound per 10 square feet, and watering it in breaks the clay bonds. The calcium ions displace sodium ions that were holding the clay particles together in tight sheets. The soil structure opens up. Water starts moving through it again. Air reaches the root zone. Microbial activity restarts. A family in eastern Kentucky applied this method after the 2021 floods left 6 inches of clay silt across their vegetable plot. They spread 50 pounds of gypsum over 500 square feet, worked it into the top 2 inches with a rake, and watered it heavily. Within 3 days, the soil texture had shifted from hard crust to friable loam. They planted late-season greens 2 weeks later and harvested a full crop. The cost for 50 pounds of gypsum was $11. Replacing 6 inches of topsoil across 500 square feet would have required roughly 15 cubic yards of material. At $40 per yard delivered, that's a $600 fix. The chemistry solved it for $11. Now, there's one contaminant gypsum won't touch. Heavy metals, lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic. These dissolve in water as ions, not particles. They don't carry a surface charge that flocculation can neutralize. Gypsum won't pull them out. If your water source sits downstream from old mines, industrial sites, or areas with lead-painted structures that have weathered into the soil, flocculation is only half the solution. You'll still need activated carbon, reverse osmosis, or distillation to handle dissolved metal contamination. But here's what gypsum does give you in that scenario. It removes the turbidity and organic matter that fouls carbon filters and RO membranes in the first run. Pre-treating contaminated water with gypsum extends the life of your expensive filtration equipment by a factor of 3 to 5. You're not replacing that $60 ceramic element every month. You're replacing it every 4 months because the gypsum already handled the particle load. The military figured this out decades ago. Field water purification units used by the U.S. Army include flocculation stages before any mechanical filtration happens. The manual for the lightweight water purifier specifies aluminum sulfate as the flocculant, which works through the same charge neutralization mechanism as gypsum. Aluminum sulfate is harder to source in civilian markets and requires more precise dosing. Gypsum is sitting on the shelf at Tractor Supply right now and tolerates rough measurement. For a prepper, working without lab equipment or military logistics, gypsum is the better tool. One final number worth locking in. A 40-pound bag stores indefinitely if kept dry. The chemical structure of calcium sulfate doesn't degrade. It doesn't expire. A bag purchased today works exactly the same 20 years from now. Your ceramic filter cartridge clogs after 1,000 gallons and becomes landfill. Your UV purifier needs replacement bulbs every 9,000 hours and runs on electricity that might not be there. Gypsum sits in the corner of your garage, costs nothing to maintain, and answers to no infrastructure. When the grid goes down and the municipal treatment plant stops running, the compound that's been clarifying water since the Roman aqueducts still works exactly the way it did in 200 AD. You just need a jar, a spoon, and 30 minutes. The physics hasn't changed, the supply chain has. And the $8 bag of powder doesn't care which century you're living in. So the question becomes, where do you actually get the stuff, and what do you do with it once the jar settles? Agricultural gypsum is sold under a dozen different brand names at every farm supply store in America. Tractor Supply carries it, Rural King carries it, most hardware stores with a garden section stock it seasonally. The active compound is always the same, calcium sulfate dihydrate. Some bags say soil conditioner, some say clay breaker. The chemistry is identical. A 40-pound bag runs between $8 and $15, depending on regional markup. You're buying the same molecule either way. For water treatment specifically, you want the powdered form, not pelletized. Pellets take longer to dissolve, and they're designed for soil application where slow release matters. Powder dissolves in seconds and starts working immediately. Check the label for purity. Anything above 90% calcium sulfate is fine. Most agricultural products sit between 92% and 98%. The remaining percentage is inert filler, usually ground limestone, which won't interfere with flocculation at all. Once you've sourced the material, the dosing process is straightforward. For moderately turbid water, something that looks cloudy but not opaque, start with 1 tablespoon of gypsum per gallon. Stir it in thoroughly and let the container sit undisturbed for 20 to 30 minutes. The particles will fall out of suspension and form a visible sediment layer at the bottom. The water above that line will be clear. For heavily contaminated water, the kind that looks like chocolate milk after a flood, double the dose to 2 tablespoons per gallon. The flocculation process works faster with higher particle loads because there's more material to bind together. The sediment layer will be thicker, but the clarification will be just as complete. After the settling period, decant the clear water off the top. Pour slowly and stop before you disturb the sediment. You can use a siphon tube if you're processing large volumes. The goal is to transfer only the clarified portion and leave the contaminated sludge behind. That sludge is everything the gypsum pulled out of the water. Soil particles, organic matter, algae, bacteria clinging to suspended debris. It's not hazardous in the chemical sense, but you don't want it going back into your clean container. Dispose of it away from your water source. The clarified water is now safe to run through a standard carbon filter or ceramic element without clogging the pores. If you're stacking systems, gypsum handles the bulk contamination, carbon handles the dissolved organics and chemical taste, and a final boil or UV stage handles any remaining microbial risk. That's a 3-layer approach using one $8 bag of powder, one $30 filter cartridge, and a pot over a fire. No electricity, no replacement parts you can't source locally, and no failure point tied to a supply chain that stops running when the trucks stop rolling. There's one more use case that almost nobody talks about. Gypsum works as a pre-filter for rainwater catchment systems in areas with high airborne particulate. If you're collecting runoff in a region with wildfire smoke, volcanic ash, or heavy dust storms, that particulate settles into your storage tank and turns the water cloudy within days. Running gypsum flocculation before the water enters, your main storage, removes that contamination at the front end. You're not cleaning the tank every week. You're clarifying the input once and storing clean water from the start. A greenhouse operation in eastern Oregon used this method during the 2020 wildfire season when ash was falling continuously for 2 weeks. They ran all incoming rainwater through a 55-gallon drum with gypsum flocculation before transferring it to their main cistern. The drum settled overnight, they decanted the clear water each morning, and their cistern stayed clean through the entire event. The cost was 1 bag of gypsum for 14 days of continuous contamination. Replacing a fouled 1,500-gallon cistern would have meant draining, scrubbing, and refilling with trucked water at $200 per load. The powder solved it for $11. The principle holds across every scenario where particulate contamination is the primary threat. Flood runoff, silted ponds, glacial melt, agricultural drainage. Gypsum pulls it out. You don't need to understand the electrical charge dynamics at the molecular level. You just need to know that it works, that it's been working since the Roman Empire, and that the supply sitting on the shelf at your local farm store right now will still be working when every mechanical system you own has rusted into scrap. The $8 bag is older than your country, and it'll outlast your refrigerator. The physics is settled, the cost is negligible, and the bag sitting in your garage right now doesn't care if the grid comes back on tomorrow or never. While your neighbors are rationing bottled water and waiting for FEMA trucks that might not come, you're clarifying pond water with a mineral that predates indoor plumbing. The Romans built an empire on this chemistry. You're just using it to survive the next flood. 1 tablespoon per gallon, 30 minutes of patience. The difference between contaminated surface water and something your body can actually process without shutting down. That's the entire system, and it's been waiting at the farm supply store this whole time for $8.